Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's story is one that has sent shockwaves through Israel and around the world. A nation that has long prided itself on its unmatched air defense system and advanced military technology now finds itself in an unprecedented crisis. Reports have emerged that Israel's Iron Dome, the pride of its defense network, has suffered a total collapse following a massive, coordinated attack. Even more alarming, several of its fighter jets have been grounded, leaving the country more vulnerable than ever before. This sudden breakdown has left Israeli citizens, military officials, and the global community in disbelief. The Iron Dome has always been seen as Israel's invisible shield, capable of intercepting rockets and missiles before they could strike populated areas. It was considered nearly invincible, a cornerstone of Israeli security and deterrence. Yet, in just a few hours, that sense of security has vanished. Multiple sources confirm that the recent attack overwhelmed Israel's defense grid, with dozens of projectiles striking deep into its territory. Analysts say that the attackers used advanced tactics and possibly new weapon systems that confused or bypassed the Iron Dome's radar detection. The result was chaos, explosions across several regions, fires in military bases, and emergency alerts ringing across Israeli cities. Eyewitnesses described the situation as terrifying. Sirens blared non-stop, and people rushed into shelters only to hear multiple direct impacts nearby. For the first time in years, Israelis are questioning whether their most trusted defense system can truly protect them. Videos on social media show streaks of light failing to intercept incoming missiles, a sight that has sent shockwaves through the global defense community. Military experts are calling this one of the most significant breaches of Israeli air defense in decades. The Iron Dome, once seen as impenetrable, now faces its biggest test yet, and it appears to have failed spectacularly. Meanwhile, the situation worsened as reports confirmed that several of Israel's fighter jets were suddenly grounded. Technical malfunctions, possible cyber interference, and maintenance issues have been cited as causes. But many are asking, is this a coincidence or part of a larger, coordinated plan to cripple Israel's defense capabilities? Sources within the Israeli Air Force admit that multiple jets were rendered non-operational just as the attack began. This has fueled speculation that the attackers may have targeted Israel's air defense command systems using electronic warfare. Some experts believe it could be the result of a cyber attack aimed at disabling critical systems, something that would mark a dangerous new phase in modern warfare. As the nation grapples with this crisis, the political fallout is immense. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has called for an emergency security meeting, while the Israeli Defense Forces are conducting an urgent review of what went wrong. The Israeli government has imposed partial censorship on details surrounding the Iron Dome's collapse, but leaked footage and reports have already gone viral. The opposition has seized on the chaos, accusing the government of overconfidence and unpreparedness. For years, Israel's leadership has promoted the Iron Dome as a guarantee of safety, but now the public is demanding answers and accountability. Internationally, the reaction has been mixed. Allies of Israel, including the United States, have expressed concern and offered assistance to restore the damaged systems. Pentagon officials have reportedly dispatched cybersecurity and defense experts to Tel Aviv to assess the situation. European nations have called for restraint and urged all sides to avoid further escalation. However, in many Middle Eastern capitals, the news has been met with celebration. Groups that have long viewed Israel as an aggressor are claiming this as a symbolic victory, proof that even the most advanced military technology can fail under pressure. Defense analysts say this moment could change the balance of power in the region. The collapse of the Iron Dome doesn't just expose technical flaws. It shatters an image of invincibility that Israel has cultivated for years. The psychological impact could be just as damaging as the physical destruction. For decades, Israel's deterrence strategy relied on superior air defense and rapid air response. But if the Iron Dome can be bypassed and jets can be grounded, that deterrence is now in question. Adversaries may see this as an opportunity to push further, to test the limits of Israel's vulnerability. The fear of a wider conflict looms large as tensions across the Middle East reach a boiling point. In the aftermath of the attack, footage from several Israeli cities shows black smoke rising from military installations and supply depots. Firefighters struggle to contain the blazes while emergency teams rush to rescue those trapped in damaged buildings. Hospitals have been placed on high alert to treat the wounded, and residents have been instructed to conserve electricity and stay indoors. The Israeli Defense Forces have sealed off several zones, suggesting that the extent of the damage is worse than initially reported. The panic has spread through social media, where hashtags like Iron Dome Down and Israel Under Attack are trending globally. At the same time, cybersecurity experts are investigating whether the Iron Dome's failure was due to external hacking. Some claim that malware may have infiltrated the command network, disrupting communication between radar systems and missile interceptors. If true, it would signal a historic milestone in cyber warfare, the first time a digital strike has completely neutralized a physical defense system on this scale. Israeli tech officials, however, are keeping silent, adding to the uncertainty. Several military insiders have hinted that this attack may have been planned for months, exploiting weaknesses that were ignored due to overconfidence in the system's AI-based algorithms. The Israeli Air Force is now in a race against time to bring its jets back online. Engineers and technicians are working around the clock to repair communication systems and reinitialize the flight software of the grounded aircraft. But the psychological damage to Israel's military ranks is undeniable. Pilots and soldiers who once trusted their equipment implicitly are now filled with doubt. For many Israelis, this incident is more than a technical failure. It's a national humiliation. The idea that the country's most powerful defense tools could be brought to their knees so suddenly is almost unthinkable. The global reaction in defense circles has been one of astonishment. Military strategists around the world are now studying the event closely to understand how such an advanced system could fail. Some speculate that the attackers used saturation tactics, firing more projectiles than the Iron Dome could handle, while others point to electromagnetic interference or stealth missiles designed to evade radar. If these new technologies are indeed responsible, it could mark a dramatic shift in modern warfare, where even billion-dollar defense systems are rendered obsolete by cheaper, smarter weapons. Nations everywhere are reassessing their own defenses in light of what happened. As the dust settles, Israel faces a monumental challenge: how to rebuild confidence in its defense network and its government's leadership. The economic cost is already staggering, with billions of dollars in damages to military infrastructure, civilian property, and lost productivity. Stock markets have reacted sharply, with defense contractors' shares dropping as investors question their reliability. Ordinary Israelis are demanding transparency and reassurance, while the military promises swift retaliation once systems are restored. The public mood, however, is grim. Many fear that this is only the beginning of a larger campaign designed to cripple Israel from within. The question now dominating every discussion is simple: how could this happen? For a nation that has invested heavily in technology, intelligence, and security, the failure seems almost surreal. Yet, as analysts point out, no system is invincible. Every defense has a weakness, and once that weakness is found, even the most powerful nations can fall. This event may serve as a painful reminder that reliance on technology alone cannot guarantee safety. Strategy, adaptability, and human judgment remain equally critical. If Israel can't identify and fix the vulnerabilities that led to this catastrophe, it risks further attacks that could plunge the entire region into chaos. Beyond the technical failure, the emotional toll is immense. Families in border towns live in fear of renewed attacks. Soldiers are exhausted and demoralized. The once confident tone of Israel's leadership has shifted to one of cautious resolve. Even as officials vow to restore and strengthen defenses, many citizens are beginning to question whether true security is possible in an age where digital and physical warfare are so deeply intertwined. The collapse of the Iron Dome symbolizes more than a military setback. It represents the crumbling of trust in a system that once seemed unbreakable. Around the world, intelligence agencies are racing to learn from Israel's misfortune. Nations that once sought to replicate the Iron Dome model are now reevaluating their strategies. The idea that such a sophisticated defense could be neutralized so swiftly is sending ripples through NATO, the Pentagon, and defense ministries across Asia and Europe. This event may well redefine how future wars are fought, not just with bombs and missiles, but with data, algorithms, and cyber interference. The modern battlefield is no longer defined by geography, but by information dominance, and Israel's crisis could be the first major lesson of this new era. As the investigation continues, questions of accountability are intensifying. Who failed to detect the threat? Why were backup systems not ready? How did the enemy know exactly when and where to strike? These questions will haunt Israel's leadership for months, if not years, to come. Intelligence sources suggest that insider information or surveillance drones might have played a key role in mapping Israel's weak points. If proven true, it would confirm that the attackers had a deep understanding of Israeli defenses, possibly aided by advanced AI-driven reconnaissance. Despite the shock, Israel is not standing still. Defense industries are already working to upgrade radar algorithms, add new anti-drone layers, and strengthen cybersecurity protocols. The Israeli military has vowed to come back stronger, learning from this disaster and adapting quickly. But until then, the vulnerability remains. Regional adversaries are closely watching Israel's every move, aware that its defenses are temporarily weakened. The threat of another wave of attacks looms heavily in the air. The world watches as Israel struggles to recover from what may be the most devastating blow to its military credibility in recent history. The Iron Dome's collapse and the grounding of fighter jets mark a turning point in both Israeli defense strategy and global perceptions of technological warfare. It's a sobering reminder that even the most advanced systems can fail, that human overconfidence can lead to disaster, and that true security requires constant vigilance and humility. For now, Israel stands in crisis, its skies once protected by a near-perfect shield now exposed, its jets silent on the runways, and its people anxiously awaiting what comes next. The coming days will test not only the resilience of its defense forces, but also the spirit of its nation. Whether Israel can rise from this humiliation stronger than before will determine the future of its security and its role in a region that is watching closely, ready to take advantage of any sign of weakness